The night was unusually cold for early autumn, the kind of cold that felt alive, sliding between the trees and crawling along the silent streets. Clouds drifted slowly across the sky, swallowing the faint moonlight, and the world below seemed made of shadows and quiet breaths. In the yard of the old orphanage, a rickety swing creaked though no one touched it, carried only by the restless wind. Inside the building, which used to be a small school decades ago, 10-year-old Alex lay awake on his bunk bed, staring at the ceiling as if the peeling paint could give him answers. He held a small cloth doll against his chest, a faceless doll sewn from scraps of linen. Most children in the orphanage laughed at him for keeping it, called it stupid, childish, creepy. But for Alex, it was the last piece of his mother he had left. She gave it to him when he was just a toddler, long before she fell ill, long before the hospital and the white sheets and the quiet conversations adults thought he didn't understand. He remembered the day she died with a strange sharpness that sometimes returned in dreams. Her thin fingers brushing his cheek, her tired voice whispering that she loved him, the nurse gently pulling him away, and then silence, a silence that lasted for years. For 4 long years he lived in the orphanage. He learned to stay quiet, learned not to cry, learned how to blend into corners, how to listen for footsteps of the older boys so he could avoid them, how to keep the doll hidden so it wouldn't be taken away. What he didn't learn was how to stop missing his mother. No matter how many nights passed, no matter how many seasons changed, the absence of her voice never stopped hurting. And somewhere deep inside him lived a single, stubborn certainty. He had to visit her grave again. They had taken him to the cemetery once, the day of her funeral. He barely understood anything then, grief covering everything like a thick curtain, but he remembered the path vaguely, the bus ride, the iron gates, the rows of stones, the fresh mound of earth, the smell of damp flowers. They never took him back. The caretakers said cemeteries were no place for children, that it was too far, too dangerous, too pointless. But Alex didn't believe them. He knew his mother was there. He knew she was waiting for him, even if no one else cared. Tonight, he decided, was the night he would run away. The idea had lived in his mind for months, but courage always seemed like something far away, like a mountain too tall to climb. Yet something in the air that night, a strange feeling, a pull from somewhere beyond the window, made him sit up, reach for the doll, and whisper to himself, "I'm going, Mom. I'm coming." His voice trembled, but not with fear, more with the enormous weight of longing he had carried for so long. He slipped off the bed carefully. The room was filled with the soft breathing of other boys, a few snores, a few restless turns in sleep. Alex moved slowly so the old floorboards wouldn't creak. He had packed earlier that day, pretending to look for lost socks while he tucked 2 pieces of bread and an apple into a small cloth bag. He also wrapped himself in the warmest sweater he had, though it was still too thin for the cold outside. He walked toward the door, holding his breath when the giant shadow of the hall lamp stretched across the floor. No alarms, no guards, only darkness and distant sounds of pipes rattling in the walls. He made his way down the corridor, past the office where the head caretaker usually sat during the day, past the kitchen with its faint smell of cabbage soup, and toward the back exit. The lock on the door had been broken for months, but the caretakers always blocked it with a metal cart. Tonight, the cart had been pushed only halfway. Perhaps someone forgot. Perhaps fate was simply kind to him for once. Alex squeezed through the gap, scraped his knee on the corner of the cart, but didn't make a sound. Outside, the world was enormous. The cold hit him sharply, but he didn't stop. The orphanage yard was wide, with bare trees and patches of dead grass. He found the hole in the fence he had discovered weeks ago, a bent section of wire barely attached to the ground. He knelt, crawled under it, and, after a brief struggle with his backpack snagging on the metal, he was free. Free. The road stretched before him, dark and unfamiliar. The street lamps flickered. In the distance he could see a few houses, their windows glowing faint gold. No one walked outside at this hour. No cars passed. The world belonged entirely to the wind and him. Alex walked. At first his steps were small and hesitant. Every rustle made him jump. Every dog barking in the distance sounded like a threat. But as minutes passed, something inside him steadied. He was afraid, but he was going to his mother, and that thought made the fear quieter. The cemetery was on the far edge of town, a long walk from the orphanage. He remembered the direction vaguely, but something almost instinctual guided him, like a thread connected his heart to that place. He walked past rows of sleeping houses, past the empty bus stop, past a dark alley that made him quicken his pace, past the crossroads where a single broken street lamp buzzed weakly. He walked until his legs ached and his fingers turned numb from the cold. The sky slowly cleared, letting thin bluish moonlight spill onto the pavement. After nearly an hour of walking, he reached the outskirts. The houses grew smaller, farther apart, and then disappeared altogether. A line of tall iron gates rose ahead, ornate but rusted. The cemetery. Alex swallowed. The gates were slightly open. He didn't know if someone forgot to close them or if cemeteries simply stayed open at night. He hesitated only for a second, then stepped inside. The cemetery was quiet in a way that felt almost alive. The wind softened, as if afraid to disturb the sleeping dead. The trees swayed slowly, branches tapping against old stones like whispers. Alex walked along the gravel path, his shoes crunching loudly in the silence. He didn't know exactly where his mother's grave was, but memories rose like faint shadows. White flowers, a marble stone, the shape of a tree above it. He wandered for a long time. 10 minutes. 20. 30. His breath grew heavy, his hands shook, but he kept searching. He passed rows of names he didn't recognize, some graves covered in fresh flowers, others forgotten, sunken. The deeper he walked, the tighter his chest felt, not from fear, but from the fear of not finding her. And then he saw it. A simple gravestone, light gray in the moonlight. A name carved across it. Irina Novikova. His mother. Alex froze. His legs suddenly felt weak. He stepped toward the grave, dropped to his knees, and touched the cold stone with trembling fingers. It wasn't the first time he had been here, but it felt like the first time he was truly seeing it. "Mom," he whispered. The word cracked in the cold air. "I came." His shoulders shook. Tears blurred his vision. He pressed his forehead to the stone, the icy surface burning against his skin, but he didn't pull away. He cried quietly at first, then louder, then quietly again, until the tears ran out and only soft hiccups remained. He wiped his face with the sleeve of his sweater, then pulled out the little doll and placed it gently on the grave. "I kept her safe," he whispered. "Just like you asked. I never let anyone take her from me." The wind moved the branches above him, and a leaf landed softly near the doll. Alex imagined, just for a moment, that it was his mother's hand brushing his cheek like she used to. He talked to her then. He told her everything, how lonely the orphanage was, how the older boys sometimes pushed him, how he wished someone would hug him when he had nightmares. He told her about the one caretaker who would sometimes give him an extra piece of bread, and about the nights he would stare at the ceiling, wishing he could hear her voice again. He told her he was trying so hard to be good, because he hoped she watched him from somewhere and would feel proud. Time passed unnoticed. The moon climbed higher. The cold deepened. Eventually, his strength gave way. He curled up beside the grave, hugging his knees, and rested his head against the stone. "I'll stay with you just a little longer," he murmured. "Just a little. I want to be close." His eyes closed. Sleep pulled him gently under, and in the softest corners of his dreams, he saw his mother. Not as she had been in the hospital, ill and tired, but young and warm, with light in her eyes. She knelt beside him, brushed his hair aside, and whispered, "Thank you for coming, my little one. I've missed you too." He reached for her hand, and she held his, warm and gentle, until morning threatened the dream. A touch on his shoulder woke him. Alex's eyes flew open. A tall figure stood over him, a man in a thick coat, his beard grey, his eyes calm. The cemetery groundskeeper. "What are you doing here, boy?" the man asked, but his voice wasn't angry. It was surprised, worried, and something else, something soft. Alex scrambled back in fear, but the man raised a hand. "Easy, easy. You'll freeze to death lying on the ground like that." The groundskeeper glanced at the gravestone, then at the doll on top of it, then at Alex, shivering, exhausted, tear-streaked. "You came to your mother," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Alex nodded once, afraid to speak. The man sighed, deep and heavy, as if the cold air itself weighed on him. "Come on. There's a heater in my little office at the entrance. You can warm up, and then we'll figure out what to do." Alex hesitated. He didn't want to leave the grave. Leaving felt like losing her all over again. The man saw his hesitation and kneeled slightly to meet his eyes. "She won't be angry if you warm up," he said gently. "Mothers don't want their children freezing in the cold. She'd want you safe." Those words, spoken so simply, hit something in Alex's chest. His eyes filled again, but this time with warmth instead of only grief. Slowly, he stood, took the doll from the stone, and pressed it to his chest. "Come on," the man said again, offering a hand, which Alex finally accepted. As they walked back through the quiet cemetery, the wind rose gently behind them, not harsh, not cold, but almost as if it were pushing them forward with a touch soft as a mother's kiss. And for the first time in years, Alex felt not so alone.